when people are openly talking about ethnic cleansing, which is a war crime, that this should not be happening. Can you defend it?
Let me dispute the idea that it's ethnic cleansing. Israel has tried pretty much everything. They've gone soft, they've gone hard. They've done ceasefires. They have done massive amounts of humanitarian food poured into Gaza, more than has ever been poured into a country in the midst of a war.
Piers Morgan left speechless after accusing Israel of ethnic cleansing. Mike Huckabee refused his claim on his own show. Take a look.
But given what is going on now in Gaza City, how comfortable are you, Ambassador? Like, overnight reported Israel killed 22 more people, including 9 children, in strikes on Gaza City. A total of 51 people killed across Gaza today, according to the Hamas-run Health Authority. And I accept that you will doubtless quibble with their numbers, but we do know from the sheer scale of attacks going on there, it is highly probable that these casualty numbers are pretty accurate. It seems to me that Netanyahu and his government have taken a view of just levelling as much of Gaza as they can, rendering it uninhabitable, with a view to what Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and these very hard right members of that cabinet keep saying publicly, which is that the war aim is no longer just about trying to defeat Hamas, which they failed to do, or release the hostages, which they failed to do. The new war aim is actually to dispel Palestinians from Gaza completely. And they've been brazen about this. And that, to me, as somebody who supported Israel's right to defend itself, in fact, said it was their duty. And I said that for many, many months. But I can't sit back and in all good conscience say, when people are openly talking about ethnic cleansing, which is a war crime, that this should not be happening. Can you defend it?
Let me dispute the idea that it's ethnic cleansing. I don't think that that is the goal. This could have ended October the 8th of 2023, as we both know. It should have ended then. This should not have gone on as long. Israel has tried pretty much everything. They've gone soft, they've gone hard. They've done ceasefires. They have done massive amounts of humanitarian food poured into Gaza, more than has ever been poured into a country in the midst of a war. No one's ever seen this level of humanitarian aid. Now, most of it doesn't get to the people who need it because Hamas steals it, sells it, makes money off of it. So it's been a train wreck in that regard. I would also dispute the figures because it's such an unreliable source when we depend upon Hamas to give us the numbers of what's happening. But I would concede there's absolutely suffering going on in Gaza. There's deprivation. There's all kinds of horrific things happening. And if Hamas had even a tinge of conscience, they would just decide that there's no future for them and there's no future for the people as long as they continue to stay. Let the hostages go in this war. They've been offered exile. That's a pretty generous offer. And I don't believe that it is the intention of the Israelis. You may have mentioned a couple of people, but I can tell you that it is not the intention of the current government to force displacement from people. They have said repeatedly, it's certainly the position of our president, that nobody should be forced to leave Gaza. People should be given a choice if they wish to leave, but nobody should be forced out of Gaza if they wish to stay.
Where will they live if the place is literally obliterated?
It's going to be a very challenging environment. Most of it is rubble. It's going to require an enormous level of temporary housing. But there have been other situations around the globe following a war when people were able to live through what is the aftermath and a complete mess. But when I was in Gaza and talked to people there, most of them said they wanted to stay. But what they did not want was Hamas having anything to do with the future. Every single person I spoke with had had a family member who had been murdered by Hamas, someone in their family. So there's no love there. And in fact, if anything, there is utter contempt for what they've been through. They don't blame the U.S. Interestingly, they didn't hate the IDF. I would have expected them to, but their contempt for Hamas was palpable.
Do you believe in the idea of a two-state solution, ultimately?
You know, I think it depends on where the two states are going to be. You know, let's go back to 1948 when the British Mandate was first divided. And at that time, Jordan had control of most all of what we now call the West Bank or Judea and Samaria. They had most of Jerusalem. They had pretty much all of that land in the Jordan Valley, west of the Jordan, up into Jerusalem. Israel had a tiny little sliver. Here's my question. If a Palestinian state was the goal, how come they didn't put one there in the 20 years that they had to do it? And in 2000, I mean, let's go back to when Bill Clinton was negotiating and Ehud Barak was the prime minister of Israel, offered Yasser Arafat 96% of the territory. And he walked away from it and said, nope, that's not enough. So it's interesting that we keep hearing as if it's Israel's fault there's not a two-state. But the truth is the Palestinians have not taken advantage of what has been offered to them in the past. And now the question would be, get a map out and show me where the boundaries of this Palestinian state would be. In what part of all of Judea and Samaria is it going to cover? And how is it going to be marked off? And how will it provide security that the Israelis can feel comfortable about, especially after what they've been through with October 7th and the barrages of attack from Iranian proxies, Hezbollah, and the Houthis?
So taking your view of it that you've just articulated, what would you find acceptable as a two-state solution?
I don't know that I have a solution for it. I mean, there have been iterations that have been offered, but I'm not seeing one that is practical based on the current political climate. I think there are going to have to be some serious discussions as to will there be a complete end to what most Western countries call pay for slay. In the PA, it's called the Martyrs and Prisoners Fund. But you can't continue to fund terrorists and give them rewards for carrying out terrorist acts that kill people. You can't have a curriculum in schools that incite violence against people who are in Israel. Those are things that have to be dealt with. There just must be some definite, complete changes in the way that people look at each other. I'd love to see there be a solution that everybody is happy with, could live with, and people live in peace. But it's not something that can be arbitrarily apportioned because some people aspire to it. It will require some serious heavy lifting. And quite frankly, it's going to take some creative thinking as to how do you do this in a secure way so that people are not going to be under the threat of another October 7th.
I love the way he speaks. You know, Mike Huckabee speaks with a lot of biblical clarity and very, calm demeanor. I think that's why Piers Morgan actually likes him. But again, Piers Morgan has this idea that Israel is committing ethnic cleansing. He won't go as far as to say genocide. I think just the opposite in a sense. I think Israel needs to commit something like ethnic cleansing in the sense that they need to give Gazans a way out. They need to give Gazans and Palestinians a way to move forward. And that is to tell them, listen, you guys obviously don't want a Palestinian state. You guys can't govern yourselves. And therefore, you guys need to move. You probably need to go to another Arab Muslim country. And many of them are taking this opportunity, even if you're not going to force them out. Tell them, listen, you guys, you probably don't want to live in Gaza anymore. Let's give you guys a chance to leave. Let's give you a future. Let's give your children and grandchildren a future at a better, better economic and, some upward mobility. Literally just say, listen, let them through. Let them to Egypt. Let them to any country that wants to take them should have them. That's my opinion. And I think that many for some reason, many pro-Palestine activists want the Gazans to stay in Gaza and suffer instead of getting them out of a war zone in which many Ukrainian refugees, many refugees in all different types of war zones throughout the world were allowed to leave. And yet the Gazans have to stay there because the world likes when Gazans suffer so that they can blame Israel. Thank you for watching this video, and for more, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. If you believe in what we do here over at Jewish Uncensored, consider supporting us in a few different ways. You can support us monetarily by going to buymeacoffee.com/Jewish Uncensored. You can also go to our new merchandise store, IsraelUncensored.com, where we just dropped a bunch of new merch. Additionally, to gain access to exclusive content, you can go to our memberships tab on this channel and join there. And finally, you can share this video with both family and friends in order to share this message with the world. Thank you so much for your support.